let's take a look at the big question mark this offseason, and it's where is LeBron James gonna go, right? And this is the biggest load of crap argument I've heard in a while. It's been the just a ginormous waste of time, in my opinion. I don't think he's leaving the Lakers, and if I'm shocked, if he goes to the Lakers or leaves the Lakers in a buyout and a trade, consider me shocked. Consider me shocked, especially if it's on a trade, especially right. First off, it would have happened by now. Right, like LeBron's not stupid. He understands the importance of a training camp, right? And in his entire NBA career, when he left Cleveland the first time, when he left Miami the second time, when he left Cleveland the second time, he left in free agency when teams didn't have to give up any assets to get him. And he had the opportunity to opt out of his contract. Now, it was a very expensive deal, probably more than he would have gotten in the free agency market. I could be wrong. Especially with a guy like LeBron, you're going to get the headlines, you're going to get the jersey sales, all that. But he opted into his 50-something mil contract. He's a free agent next season. And so maybe he's like, I can just play the season out and then go to another team. That could be an option for sure. But he would have opted out if he wanted to go to another team. 1,000%. There's no chance he would have been like, you know what, I'm going to opt in, and then I want to be traded to the Mavericks. I want to be traded to the Celtics. I wanted to be traded to the Cavs. That's just not happening, right? Because that weakens the championship contending team that you're going to if he really wants to compete for championships. I don't think his best chance was in LA. I think he should have opted out and signed with a team like Cleveland. That would have very, very poetic ending to his NBA career. I think Cleveland would have and should have opened him with open arms. But that's not the case. He's stuck in LA. The team's pretty much admitted they're shifting their focus to Luka, which is the right decision. Signing guys to 2-year contracts is strange, and we'll talk about that later this week. But for LeBron and the Lakers, let's take a look at his odds in terms of his next team. And we'll talk about where I like his fit the most. First off, with the Dallas Mavericks, it would have to be a buyout situation. No way in heck am I the Mavericks trading any pieces for LeBron James, because right now your depth is a strength. But for the Mavericks, your starting lineup would potentially be D'Angelo Russell to start the season. D'Angelo Russell, Cooper Flagg, assuming you maybe potentially have to move off Klay Thompson, Cooper Flagg, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively. You know, with LeBron James is able to space the floor a little bit, give you more athleticism than a Klay Thompson, can't handle the ball. I don't hate the fit, but I would hate him on the Mavs. I do not want him on the Mavs. I will say that with my chest out. I do not want LeBron James on the Dallas Mavericks at all. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. The team I would love for him to go to is the second place team in terms of odds, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I said, storybook ending, but also they have a great fit for him. They have a great front court, assuming they're able to retain those two guys. Then you have a scorer in Donovan Mitchell. And last time you saw him play with a really elite, quick playmaker was Kyrie Irving. And they were able to excel that way. And he also, the last time, he kind of gets all his archetypes back. He gets, Donovan Mitchell, more of a Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving-esque type scorer. I would say more Dwayne Wade style. And then you get Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis archetype. I mean, it would just be a great fit for LeBron. Their small forward spot is kind of an open gap right now. And so I think they could, you could just place him perfectly in the mix like that. So I easily that would make the Cavs my East winner, though. If he were to go there for a year, I would say Cleveland's winning the East, even over teams like the Knicks, the 76ers. I think it would be easily in the Cavs. Their odds would skyrocket for sure, too. Then you have the Golden State Warriors. And, look, the Warriors are already kind of a mess to begin with. I hate their roster. I do. But then you would potentially have Curry, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, LeBron. Maybe you have to move off Jimmy Butler in that trade, which I love that trade for actually both teams. If it was a 1-for-1 swap, I'd be like, okay, because you get more of a playmaker out of LeBron. It can help with Curry's off ball, and then Jimmy's more of a defender, which can help the defensive needs of the Lakers. But for this fit, I actually don't hate it, especially like I said with the playmaking. I just don't think you can play him and Draymond on the court together. I would have to see that fit. Obviously, LeBron James can play off ball, catch and shoot. If Draymond's playing the power or the point forward position, I think he would love it in Golden State personally. Still in LA or still in California. Let's play with Steve Kerr. Play with the guy he's always wanted to play with, and Steph Curry. That's a great fit. It would be an annoying fit though, because I think the Warriors are like, even with LeBron, I think they're as high as a 5 seed in the West. Then you have the New York Knicks. This is the biggest blockbuster move I could think you could make in terms of the headlines and the media. The media would go crazy if LeBron was a New York Knick. Crazy. But I also don't like the fit as much, right? I think LeBron plays great when he has, an elite dunker and some shooters around him. And with New York, that was kind of their downfall a little bit, was their shooting. Karl Anthony Towns, to me, is really a power forward, just in terms of the way he plays. They don't have a true center. I know they have Mitchell Robinson as a shot blocker, but he kind of was on and off the court in terms of just his free throw ability, which was a huge letdown in the postseason. And so for the Knicks, they're kind of also one of those middle ground teams. Now the East is open, right? If I had to choose, a conference that I would put my money on him going, I would say he's going to the East, right? Because if he could go to the NBA Finals one more time and then call it a career, he'd be like, look, I made it in the NBA Finals my final season or something like that. And so maybe it's Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Kat, LeBron, OG Anunoby. I mean, that's a deadly first 5. And so, I don't hate that pick. It would be cool to see, LeBron on another big market team. But I just don't think it moves the needle too much for the Knicks as a whole. Then you have the Spurs. I just don't see the Spurs making a move for LeBron. Unless, again, it's a buyout and they can sign him. I don't see him going to the Spurs regardless. Same thing with Philly. Unless it's a trade for like Paul George, but why would you do that? I kind of hate that fit even more in Philly. They're more of a point guard driven team, especially with Joel Embiid being in and out of the lineup. Even with Joel, I think now they've some great guards there with drafting VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain coming off an injury. They have a very stout backcourt in my opinion, and I think that'll translate to more success this season than last season for the 76ers. And maybe they can get a bounce back year from Paul George. The Nuggets, not happening. And the Timberwolves are more likely than the Nuggets. They have the same odds here, but I think the Timberwolves would more likely make a move. But would LeBron James want to go to Minnesota? If LeBron James is going to go to a small market team, he's going back to Cleveland. I don't think he's going to any other market. But again, this fit, I would assume maybe Julius Randle would get moved in this situation. Same archetype a little bit. But then you got Naz Reid, Ant, Jalen McDaniels, sorry. I don't know. I think that would be an interesting move for the Timberwolves. I do think it makes it better. They do need an offensive initiator once, Ant's off the court or off the floor. They got that in Naz Reid, Julius Randle a little bit, but with LeBron, you get a little bit more of an elite level with that and another natural scorer at all 3 levels, whereas Julius Randle's not much of a three-point shooter, even though his three-point shot wasn't bad last year. Naz Reid's more of a shooter. So it bounces off their offense a little bit for Minnesota, and that would raise their ceiling massively, though, for sure, massively. So in terms of those teams, if I had to pick, I would say Cleveland, number 1. He's going to Cleveland, in my opinion, if he's going anywhere. I would say then the Warriors. I could see himself buying him out and then going to join the Warriors to play with Curry for a year. That would just be crazy. That would break the internet. And then he stays with the Lakers. Those are my only 3 real. I only have 2. It's either Cleveland or LA. And that's it. He's not going to the Clippers. He's not going to the Mavericks. He's not. The Mavericks will always be on top of these lists because of, the trades and whatnot, but I just don't, unless it's a buyout and he signs for the vet minimum, And my thing with LeBron going to the Mavs, if that's ever the case, is the fact that LeBron comes with so much baggage in terms of the attention he gets, and if he wins the ring, it's his ring and not necessarily the Mavs ring. And I'm just kind of like, I would just roll my eyes because it feels like it's really less than a championship, right? When he won with Cleveland, when he won with Miami, in my opinion, those were legitimate championships. LA, they kind of, they were a great team. I'm not selling that short. In the bubble, that's a whole other debacle of the bubble. But when LeBron won, it's like, oh, we won another championship, right? We didn't necessarily grow this championship. Whereas with the Mavericks right now and how they're constructed, they got Kyrie. They've re-signed Kyrie. Kyrie's kind of their guy now. The 80 thing will be interesting in terms of how he's perceived being an NBA champion. Obviously, this is thinking, if they were to win one. Klay Thompson's the guy where it's like, yeah, yes, it's a Mavericks championship, but he gets his 5th, which is very cool. Right, and then you get some other guys like Derek Lively. Dallas drafted him. If Jaden Hardy stays on the lineup and he plays important minutes, guy that Dallas drafted. But then also Cooper Flag. Oh, snap, he won his, a championship in his first couple years. That's huge in terms of starting his legacy as a Dallas Maverick. So that's why I just don't want LeBron, because LeBron comes, it's LeBron's championship, not your team's championship, right? And then also, if LeBron wins a championship with any team, and this is the credit to LeBron for being a great player, but he's more than likely going to win that Finals MVP. And in my opinion, I'd want it to be a guy like AD or a Kyrie or a Cooper Flag or someone that's already on the Mavs currently, rather than a guy like LeBron, where it's kind of like, oh, he kind of just ring chased and he got the Finals MVP, and that steals it. Because the Finals MVP, another championship could change a lot of things for LeBron's legacy, right? 5 ties him with Kobe, 1 shy of Jordan now instead of 2 shy, right? 5 championships is a lot different than 4. He gets 1 more than Steph Curry and all those guys. But, there's also a sense where it's like, if Kyrie Irving wins the 2nd ring and wins Final MVP, how does that change his legacy? That changes it massively. And I mean massively. A 2-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP, that would change things for Kyrie. I think there would be a strong chance he becomes a top 100 player all the time in terms of the NBA, like top 100, top 75, because he got screwed out of that already. But then if AD wins, he wins out with LeBron, 2-time NBA champ, 1-time Finals MVP. That changes things for him all time. Maybe people look at his career in a different light. Yeah, he would maybe be a little injury prone, but when he played, he was a beast, and he won with 2 different teams, right? And that's credit to LeBron, right? Winning with different teams is massive. You think about how hard that is, right? Now, again, leaving in free agency, whatnot, trading your team like a Kevin Durant, that's a different situation, right? And LeBron's done that. I'm not trying to shy away from that. But, in an AD situation, he was traded. That was against his will. I don't think he wanted to be traded, in all honesty, and I don't blame him, right? When you're all settled down, you think you have a nice career in LA, then you wake up in the middle of the night, oh, hey, we traded you to Dallas. You'd be like, what? There was this huge fuss of me getting here in the first place. We won the championship. We're still somewhat of a contender, right? I'm playing some of the best ball of my career this season. He was at the beginning of the season. And then they ship him off for a guy like Luka. And I think, for AD, that completely changes that trade 1,000%. Because right now, AD's still getting some bad PR, just in terms of how the whole trade went down. So is Luka. They're both teams are losers in the trade. In all honesty, the Mavs look like fools, as they should. And then the Lakers are kind of like, is this Luka guy going to live up to all that? Now, I think, obviously, it's way too early. The next 3 years, we'll know if it was a good trade or not. And so, for the Mavericks, it's going to be important for them. Or the reason why I want the Mavericks to win is because it's important to the guys that are there that they win. And they get credit for the win, rather than a guy like LeBron coming in and stealing all of the glory, like I think he would with any other team, with any team here on this list. Even if, I would find it very hard if the Lakers were to somehow go to the NBA Finals and win it all this next upcoming season, and Luka balls out, but so does LeBron. I find it very hard they give it to Luka, very hard over LeBron, because they'll be like, oh, but LeBron was playing it on both sides of the court. They'd find some BS to steal from Luka, and that's why Luka's got to get out of LA. And we'll talk about that in another episode on how I want Luka to leave LA and go to another team. But for now, that'll close this LeBron talk for a little bit. And that will actually bring our episode to a close. It does say way too early NBA contenders, and I kind of stated them there in terms of, the kite little bubble. But you have, OKC, Denver, and one of those teams. We'll save that for a more in-depth top rankings, similar to some other guys in the media and how they do their bubbles. We'll do a ranking of NBA champions in the middle of July. So that'll do it for this live stream and this podcast. Thank you guys for joining for another one. We had some technical difficulties. It seems like it's kind of similar to a download speed where it's up and down, the live stream. I haven't paid too much attention to that in the other streams, and maybe that's a good thing, right? I'm already streaming to nobody, so who cares if it's great quality or not in terms of the Wi-Fi. Anyways, again, make sure to follow me on social media. Most important one is X, AJU Sports. That's my handle on X. Make sure to go follow me over there. That's where you get way more instant reactions to stuff like that outside of the shows. You can also go follow the YouTube page, All Jacked Up Sports. And if you can't ever make a live show, don't worry. You can listen to You Don't Know Jack on wherever you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, literally name it, and it's most likely on there. So make sure you look up You Don't Know Jack. We got the new logo, new everything. Super excited about it. We'll see you guys again tomorrow at 11 a.m. sharp Central Time, 12 Eastern. I'm excited. Have a great, wonderful rest of your Monday. And let's have a day, everybody.